Hey folks, Rick Brown here from Bayou Knives again. Been a while since I made a video and thought I'd do a little update. And I want to talk about some knives and show you some knives and talk about uses of knives. I've had a lot of people ask me, what knife do you use? Or what knife do you recommend for me? Well, it depends on where you live, what you do, and what the purpose and intent for it. I don't think there's one knife that will do it all. Now there's some good all-around knives. There's some knives that are good for general use every day. They're kind of like a jack of all trades, but the old saying is they're a master of none. They're good at a lot of things, but they're not excellent at anything. And since I live in a rural area, I can walk outside my house and shoot my gun. I can ride around the cornfields on the four-wheeler. I carry a knife almost every day. Well, I do carry a knife every day. Generally, in my pocket, I have a Swiss Army knife, and it's the Tinker model with a little Phillips screwdriver and two blades, and that's on me all the time. That's my pocket knife. They're extremely sharp, really good, little Victory Knox knife. But during hunting season, or when I'm out on our hunting place or the property we lease, I generally carry this style knife. This is a modified Canadian bush knife. I call it the Yukon River because as most people that keeps up with my channel knows, I name all of my knives after rivers and creeks, and so this is named after the Yukon River since it's a Canadian style, but I modified the basic Canadian and put more of a drop and more of a butcher point on it. And the way this knife here has water buffalo handles on it. It's good for, you could stab with it. It can be used as a skinner, has plenty of belly, a slicer, an all-around camp knife. It lets you get your knuckles down close to where you want to cut without hitting your hands too bad. It has an excellent slicing stroke. You can choke up and use it to whittle or to fine cut. Use it as a general purpose knife. It's made out of 1/8 inch thick steel. You could use it to baton if you had to. I just really like this design knife. Now my personal knife has Cocobolo handles and the thumb hole loop, and I build these with a horizontal carry holster that holds it on your belt this way instead of up and down. And that to me is one of the best all-around knives that I make. If I had just one knife, this would probably be it, and the one I have is in Cocobolo. And I always have a neck knife on me during the daytime, and this is one example of one that I make. This is a little drop point hunter, has a 2.5 inch blade, a 2.5, well it's closer to a 3 inch blade, 2.5 inch handle. This one has East Indies rosewood handles, red spacers, either come with a little leather neck knife sheath or a Kydex neck knife sheath. And that's a nice little blade. This one's made out of 1/16 inch steel. Now here's another one. I made this one for a female customer, and it's got pink G10 handles, but it's a little drop point with a little bit more of a handle, a little bit bigger handle. It will even fit in my hands. Has a 2.5 inch drop point blade with a good skinner. Now that's a good little knife to have for you too. We can put any kind of handles on it. Now I think that a survival knife or an all-purpose knife is more like this. And when a lot of people think of surviving knives, they think of something along this line, but I call it a fighter. This is more of a special purpose knife. Now this is a copy of the Loveless Fighter. It has a solid tang handle, full tang handle, full 1/4 inch thick, aluminum guards, aluminum pins and tube. Has a 7 inch blade with a double bevel grind out of 1/4 inch steel. So it has plenty of strength to baton with, cracking anything open. It has it's just a strong knife with that full tang handle. I build these leather sheaths myself. I'm quite proud of my leather working skills. This one has a long drop to keep it down from sticking up too high above your belt. Snap holster. and it has a lot of retention even without the snap. And now this knife is for sale. It's $200 through the month of September if you want one of these, want this knife. And some of the other knives I make, now this is one I'm working on. This is 1095 1/8 inch steel, and it's patterned after the wood lower knife, and I made the handle just a little bit longer, and it has the 3.5 inch blade just like the wood lower knife. This will make a real good bushcrafting, general purpose, all-purpose knife along this line. This line has a little bit better skinning capability, but this is still a good general purpose knife. I make these. This knife will be for sale. Your choice of handle material when I get it finished. And then another one along the larger batoning fighter style is this one that I call the I think this one's the Bayou. I'm not real sure, but anyway, it's got a 6.5 inch blade, 1/8 inch steel. I'm gonna polish it and heat treat it and get it finished out. This one will be for sale with your choice of handles also. And then I also make a few. I don't make much out of sawmill blades. I'm gonna be honest with you. It's a whole lot easier, cheaper, and faster for me to make them out of bought steel than it is a sawmill blade. These two blades that I have are 4 foot diameter. One of them was 3/16 and the other one's 5/16, and they are honestly so hard that I believe they're armor plated. I know that's just joking, but I mean they eat up belts. It takes a whole 4-inch angle grinder blade to cut one of them out. They're even after putting them in my propane forge till they was cherry red and letting them air cool, it was almost impossible to drill holes in the handles. So this is very very strong, very hard steel, and after they're heat treated they are even harder. So if you want a real heavy, durable knife, now this one is a little bit larger version of the wood lower knife, and it'd make a real good bushcrafting all-purpose knife. You can contact me about these sawmill blade knife. Now this one is more of a straight back bushcraft knife. It doesn't have the drop point to it. It has a wider, thicker blade. It'd be really good for batoning with that thick sawmill steel. This one has water buffalo handles on it. I'm finishing out. This knife will be for sale also. I just think that's a real good general purpose knife. It has a real good heft to it and a real good feel. It's comfortable, round, and smooth. So if anybody's interested in this knife or any of my other knives or anything made out of the sawmill blade, I'm making what I call the Frontier series. I have them. They're reproductions of knives between the early 1700s to about the mid 1800s. This one right here I'm building for myself. I call it the French Broad River. It's based on a French trade knife, and it's, of course, back then they used more of a utility butcher knife, kitchen knife style knife. This one gonna have a big handle. I'm gonna put either cherry or maple with aqua fortis finish to make it look authentic. I'm leaving the black, and I will probably patina this blade after I finish it with white vinegar to give it a grayed look. And I'm starting to get into French and Indian War reenacting, going to the primitive primitive shoots and primitive rendezvous, and I'm building this knife. I'm leaving it rough finished to look like it was handmade in the 18th century, and to start my French and Indian War outfit. And this will be my big knife, and I'll have a couple smaller knives and probably a Indian style trade neck knife to go along with my costume. And this would be exemplified of a very large frontier style butcher knife slash fighting knife. If any of you saw the movie Last of the Mohicans, you saw that the main character Hawkeye, he carried a big butcher style knife of this style. This and a tomahawk, a smaller neck knife or a patch knife would have been the mainstays of frontiersmen and long hunters of the mid 1700s. So I just wanted to show you these few knives and let you know what we're going on, what we make. Make just about anything that a person wants. Like I said, this is one of my favorite knives around that I make. This is the knife that I carry for daily use when I'm hunting or when I'm checking game cameras or putting out feed corn for the deer or just anything like that nature. Riding my four-wheeler, I've generally got this one with me, along with a usually a 22 rifle or something of that nature, and a handgun. Sometimes I have an AR-15 with me, but I've always got one of these, and I really like this knife. I especially like the horizontal carry sheath. I wish I had it with me to show you, to where it rides horizontal to your belt, and it doesn't stick down if you're riding in a vehicle, or if you're riding in on a four-wheeler. It doesn't stick down. It lays sideways. It's easier to draw and get to. So that's a real good knife there. And like I said, any of these knives available. Some of these are available for sale. If not, I'll make you one just like it. So if you see anything you like or anything you want to ask me about, send me a message or get a hold of me on my website, which is www.bayouknives.webs.com, and give me a shout. And I hope you enjoyed this video today, and I thank you for looking. And as I always say, have a great day today and a better day tomorrow. This is Rick Brown, Bayou Knives. Thank you for viewing.